let's just push back to how much fun it was. Just you and me sitting up this.
Bro, we screaming at the television watching the game.
No exaggeration. I can't tell you how many times we're yelling. Just the snow, it's just a true snow globe game.
Yeah.
But I was astounded, Damien, by the level of play and the plays that consistently were being made on both sides in the snow. I thought it was remarkable. Did you?
I actually thought it was pretty clean. When you get into a game where the weather is like this, you always talk about ball security, quarterback center exchange, guys catching the ball. I thought both sides handled the conditions pretty doggone well in this game. It was a highly entertaining game.
It truly was. And, I mean, it's cliche to say that you throw the records out, and yet, as it relates to Cleveland, in this division, I don't know how else you explain beating Baltimore and Pittsburgh when you've been bad against other teams, but in that stadium against these teams, I just am impressed and think they deserve a ton of credit. And it starts, I think, clearly on defense with Myles Garrett. And as we watch this guy, it was your job to block people like that. What makes him what he is right now?
Well, first of all, just the God-given ability. When you just don't see too many human beings his size, but his ability to bend, Scott, like for a guy who's 6'5", 280, 285, to be able to bend the corner and be able to move the way he's able to move, you just don't see anything like that. It is so hard. And you saw how the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had a plan for him.
Sure.
Like, I was specifically watching him time and time again. You saw chips. You saw double team. You saw everything. They couldn't stop the man because he's that good of a player.
Right. I think you and I both saw the Joe Thomas tweet.
Yes.
And a great Cleveland Brown, as good as anyone that ever played the tackle position. And it's like, to quote Mike Tyson back in a past life, not when he was fighting YouTubers, when he was the most feared man on the planet, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
I don't know what you do against Myles Garrett. I don't think there's anything you truly can do other than just try to roll pockets and get the hell out of his way.
Yeah, and I think Myles even talked about it in the postgame just now. It's like, I know that other guy, TJ Watt, is on the side, but I'm gonna bring the heat and let you know that I'm still that dude out here.
He is that. And on this night, look, there's an objectivity that we have in this business. You don't root for anybody, and yet I'd be lying if I said that you and I weren't both just. There's something about Jameis Winston from the pregame speech. The pregame conversation that he had sideline, to just watching him squint in the snow, to see his helmet get blasted, the guts of the helmet get knocked out. There's just something about this guy that's just undeniable.
I root for Jameis Winston.
There you go.
I root for Jameis Winston. He is like, he brings something good to the sport of football. And the way he played tonight, he battled his tail off tonight in adverse conditions, playing out there. It's not easy to throw the ball when it's the snow is coming down sideways. We're talking about the lake effect snow, but Jameis was out there balling tonight.
He certainly was. And look, Wilson, the throw that Wilson made to Austin for the touchdown on a 3rd and 6, I thought that was incredible too. This is one of those nights where whichever side ends up coming out on the right side of it can feel great about the plays they made and the victory that they ultimately got. And someone was going to be brutally disappointed, despite, I think, again, playing really well in what was one of the all-time snow games you're ever going to see. Pittsburgh, frankly, played well enough to win a game, but Cleveland just wasn't going to lose it. I think that's the way I saw it. Is that the way you describe it?
Again, you get into these divisional games, they know each other. They play each other twice a year. And so the record doesn't matter. It's almost like you watch a team on film, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because they're going to come out and play you totally different. This is a big-time rival, the city of Cleveland, the city of Pittsburgh. And they showed it tonight in this game. I
was just told Jameis is going to join the show.
And this is going to be an all-time heater.
Well, I'm just trying to, in my mind, imagine in your life being from Bessemer, Alabama, how many times you played a game in conditions like this? Because it's snow games, I think everybody, and we were laughing about this, right? Like you and I are sitting here in the warm studio. It's fine for us. But you actually told me you enjoyed playing in the snow because why?
Because, first of all, I'm at an advantage.
Right.
The defensive line, they can't rush the passer. And I know where the play is going. They don't. So I'm like, now all bets are off. Everything is equal because as a lineman, you're playing against superior athletes on the defensive side.
Right.
But when you have weather like this, man, this is fun. This is what I love, games like this.
I guess that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying it took us too long to warm up to the action. They brought it, and they brought it instantly early on. Thought we settled down and got competitive, but as you mentioned, it produced some negativity, particularly in the first half.
Mike, can you explain what happened on that call where you ended up accepting the penalty after they say you declined? Why did you accept?
I thought it was a grounding. Initially, I couldn't hear the officials. I thought it was a grounding. When I realized that it wasn't ruled a grounding, I got information from them and made the call that we wanted to make. The distance was more important to us. If it wasn't grounding, we wanted to move them 5 yards back. They were potentially kicking into the wind, and so we wanted to stop them and make the field goal a longer one.
Atmosphere for a football game. Our fans.
All right, on the other side of this, Kevin Stefanski, after his team battles and wins.
Incredible they were from the jump, and then the snow globe. It's a special night for our fans, and I think they deserve it. This team, we talk about being resilient, and sometimes you have to show it, and I thought they showed it tonight. Fought like crazy against a good football team. Leading in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden down in the fourth quarter, 19-8, throw an interception, get a 3-and-out, have a great rush on punt return, force a bad punt, get the ball, score, 50 seconds left. So just complimentary football when we need it the most, and just proud of those guys. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin, I know prior to this game, you said that Nick was probably just treating it like any other game, and I know he said that as well. But what did it mean for him to be able to score the game-winning touchdown, score 2 touchdowns, play as well as he did, coming back in this game?
I don't think it meant anything other than he wants to do everything in his power to help this football team win. That Nick Chubb's he is the consummate teammate. He's the best I've been around in that regard, and he wants to help this team win.
Kevin,
Coach singing the praises of Nick Chubb, another guy that you and I upstairs that you cannot help but root for. He is a consummate class professional who's battled through injuries both at Georgia and an injury last year on this field against this team, against Pittsburgh, that he came back from the touchdowns, 2 of them. The second gives them the victory. For Cleveland, it's a night to be happy. They earned it. They're fans. There's no one like the Browns fans. They're out there in the snow with their shirts off. I don't think they're going to be a very productive day at work tomorrow for a lot of people in Cleveland. It's fine. But this is kind of this is as good as it's going to be for them. Pittsburgh's got bigger issues to sort out moving forward because they're going to be in the playoff picture. When you lose a game such as this, now you got to go to Cincinnati next week, right? Yep. You waited all year to kind of get into the deep water of playing in the division. You beat Baltimore, you lose like this. You get the long sort of the bye, so to speak, right? I'm going to get to my point here. I'm rambling. How do you kind of flush this if you're Pittsburgh?
I think when I watched this game from the Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint, the thing I think they had a bunch of empty calories in this game. And what I mean by that is they accumulated a lot of yards. They were moving the ball up and down the field, but they weren't scoring touchdowns. And if you look at last week.
Yeah, 368 for the 368 in the snow. That's a lot of yards.
368 in the snow.
Yeah.
But not many touchdowns. And that was the same thing last week against the Baltimore Ravens.
Is that a concern for you? Because Dan Orlovsky said, you can't win these games kicking field goals. And you think, well, they did last week, but I understood his point. Over the long haul, you're going to need to be better. You're going to need to be cleaner and get 7, not 3. That continues to be a concern for you?
If there's one thing that I'll point to with the Pittsburgh Steelers is the inability of really finishing drives. They're not finishing drive. They're moving the ball up and down the field, but if you're not finishing drive and you're just kicking field goals, that's what can come back to bite you once we get to the games that really matter in the postseason.
Right, because when it comes to, and this is, again, I always bring the conversations from upstairs to here. I do wonder, though, if you're talking about Buffalo, you're talking about Kansas City, you're talking about maybe the Chargers as well, like teams that you could see certainly Baltimore. They did beat Baltimore. They kind of seem to have their number. But when you're ranking them, maybe the other offenses feel like they're more capable, particularly when it comes to getting touchdowns instead of field goals than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, definitely. If I had to, Pittsburgh is like a tier below some of those, the Buffalo, even Baltimore. I know they beat Baltimore, but
they did.
With Lamar,
right.
they're still a tier below offensively.